Happy Friday. It has been a
Happy
minute.
Friday.
It has been
It's
a
been a
minute.
year, right?
It has been. You're now a dad, a new dad, so you had to really lay down the dad joke at the start to like let it be
Haven't
known.
haven't
Happy,
seen
happy. I
you
don't know what
since
you call
last
this.
year.
Congratulations on being a new dad.
Happy year kickoff.
Happy year kickoff. And what a kickoff you've had. How you feeling? Getting enough sleep?
Yeah, I think for the most part, my wife might disagree because she's the one who actually doesn't get to sleep.
Mm,
But
that is also correct.
she might be in the chat. Who knows? Who knows? If all three kids are all three girls,
If
so
she ends up
I
in the chat, then I will be extremely impressed because small children, like a newborn and older kids, is like always chaos for a little bit as the older kids adjust to the fact that mom and dad can't pay as much attention to them.
that's really what it is, right? And the funny thing is, like you think, oh, you have little kids, so we have, and it was a surprise. Like we didn't know it was going to be a boy or girl. It ended up being a girl. So I have three girls: a 4-year-old, a 2.5-year-old, and now a newborn. And it's
Mm,
funny because the first thing everyone thinks is like, oh, hey, you've already done this, right? Like it was like 2 years ago when you like were
right.
in newborn phases, but 2 years is a long time. So it feels so much different. And of course, like you said, now there's like you can't play like man to man defense anymore.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
hey, I'll
Yeah.
take care of two girls and you take care of the baby, and then we'll swap and all this.
Yep. That's what we would always say. Like going from 2 to 3 is not bad for 90% of the time. And then
Yeah.
there's 10% where all three of them decide that like they all want to be misbehaving or crazy. And suddenly it feels like you have like 7 children all at once,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. 100%.
So
Hey, everyone in the chat. Henry. I always forget like how you pronounce it.
Henri.
Henri. There we go. Henri and Isra. Glad to see you. How's your year been so far? Like it feels like to me, since we haven't gotten the chat,
Right.
on this show, it's 23 days into the year, but it feels like to me like, hey, this is like
23 days.
the first week, right?
Why'd you say that? I always hate that. Like, I was thinking, I literally had that like come up the other day where I was looking at the date and I was just like, how is January already almost over? It is like
Yeah. Well, see,
ridiculous.
the 23 doesn't feel as bad for me, but like when I see there's always like those X accounts that are like,
Oh yeah,
oh,
like it
nine
does like
percent of the year is already
yep,
done.
those like
Just
ANSI
so you know.
symbols or something.
Yeah, you only have 43 more working days left or whatever. I'm like,
I'm
okay,
like, you shut up. You don't know
hold
me.
up.
No, it's been a bit like it's been a busy first month. Flew out to San Francisco. Um the I guess the first full week of January. We
Okay, yeah,
did
you did
a
a
lot of planning.
company. Yeah.
Mhm. A lot of planning for the year. We're like officially launching our product to GA at some point this year, so we had to like
Very nice.
get the timelines, get the synergies, the all the OKRs, all the stuff. So we got all that scheduled. It was a good time. I got to go hang out at my boss got a new house, which was nice. So I got to go hang out at his house with his family for a little bit, and then as I always do when I go out of town, I always go eat. Like if I can, I'll always get like one meal just like by myself at like
Okay.
somewhere with food that I don't get to eat in Alabama.
Do you find like, do you look on Yelp and like find like the fast places or like high rated stuff, or is it just like what your eye catches and sees?
So usually it goes like one of two ways. So I try first to find like a really, really nice sushi restaurant
Okay.
because
There's no
Alabama
sushi in
sushi,
Alabama.
Alabama sushi is just like it's not like it is a thing, but it's
Yeah.
like deep fried and like
Okay.
not great, like it's not good. So I went and got like a really good sushi place. They had one in where I was at.
Yeah,
Um,
I can imagine.
yeah, it was great. I sat at like the counter with the
Ooh.
chefs
Yeah,
while they
right.
were like making it and talking to them and got chatting about how I'm from Alabama and like why I like to go to a sushi place. And then I did like the omakase, so it's like chefs just give you whatever. And then they
Yeah.
gave me like 4 extra pieces because they were
Ooh.
like oh, you're from Alabama. Like, try this one on the house, on the house. And I'm like, nice. Yeah, I'm gonna play that up more the next time I go out to a sushi place. But
There you
it was
go.
good.
Henri, 43 centimeters of snow. That's crazy.
Henri,
I'll
where are
have
you?
to do the
Where are you
conversion.
based out of?
What is
How north
40?
are
What is
you?
So
I'm guessing
17 inches.
Canada because he used centimeters. We don't
Yeah, I was gonna say.
we don't talk in metric here.
Yeah, that's a foreign concept right now. Foreign concept to me even more because we don't use YYZ. Okay, that's Canada, right?
Also, I'm like YYZ. Either that's a
Like
place
it feels like a
or
province in Canada. I could be completely wrong. This shows my America showing right now.
oh yes, 100%.
No, but in
Toronto.
Arizona,
It's the airport code for Toronto.
okay, there you go. See, I felt like that was a good guess, but yeah, it is 69 degrees in Phoenix right now, so it is. I'm loving the weather. So I do not have snow, so I cannot relate at all.
We are supposed to be getting snow in like the north part of the state, but we regularly get snow in the middle area where we're at. And so I am at just like wet and cold. Like not cold enough to be snow,
Yeah.
but still cold when you go outside to where you're like and just wet, which is like the worst combo.
See,
So
I still go outside right now in like shorts, t-shirt, some flip flops.
So
Good thing,
nice.
so
Ooh,
it is-
negative
This
40
is why we live here.
in
Negative
Iowa.
40, yeah,
Hard
and
pass.
that's Fahrenheit.
Yeah, hard pass. I'm out.
That's not even the Celsius, which
Wind
I think
chill?
is the same.
I'm guessing
thing, though.
wind chill because it feels like actually negative 40. Like people would just die walking out there, right? Is that how?
That's
Isn't
where
that
I'm
how
at.
temperature works? I'm pretty sure like I die if I go
Just
out and it's below 20 degrees. Like I'm from Alabama, we don't do cold.
Yeah, we had this rule. I used to work at a Chick-fil-A in downtown Chicago, and during the winter, we had this rule called the 2020 rule, where we never closed. You never closed the store because it's corporate, but it's also like individually owned. So like they had say on like when it was closed, when it was open, kind of thing.
Right.
Never close the store during winter unless it was either negative 20 or 20 inches of snow.
Ooh, that's like I like a 2020 rule. I like
2020
that.
rule.
Also, that's so gross to me that like 20 inches of snow is even possible. Like I can't
Impossible.
fathom that much snow like being around. Like we're like, oh my goodness, it was a crazy snowstorm and it was like an inch and a half or something.
Yeah.
I'll say Arizona, does it ever get like, I mean, I know like desert, whatever, supposedly gets like really cold at nights and stuff, but y'all deal with a lot of snow there?
Nope. I mean, not in Phoenix. There is snow northern Arizona. There's actually quite a bit of snow. I mean, I don't know how much that is this year. I haven't gone too much besides my home this year. But like 2 hours north, you could probably find like enough snow that people go skiing and snowboarding. So 2 hours north of me. So not terrible. And like it's not like unheard of. But I think the last time it snowed in Phoenix, anything substantial was like 40 years ago. So
Gotcha. Makes sense.
heard of the Waffle House Index? I have not.
I was going to ask about
It
that. But
sounds
first, before the Waffle, the answer is no. I've not ever heard of the Waffle House Index. So tell us about it, Henri. 2, Huntsville, Alabama is fantastic. That's where I'm from. It is like
There you go.
beautiful, beautiful weather up there. It's called the Tennessee Valley, and it's like very bad for tornadoes, but very good for just like weather. And it's just like really, really nice area.
Yeah. I love it. Well, other than going to SF, what how was the rest of your last week? And we'll say last week is like the last 3 weeks.
Well, good news.
Okay.
I heard back from React Miami, and I'm in.
Ooh,
Speaking at
there you
React
go.
Miami, very excited about that.
Nice.
It was the first conference that I like submitted to when I decided, hey, I want to start submitting to conferences. And it was also my first rejection at saying like, no, you can't. We're not going to accept your talk this year around blah, blah, blah. So this year I was like, I will speak at React Miami.
Yeah.
And I will be speaking at React Miami in April. My talk is titled, I think it, oh man, I already forgot what the exact title is. It's something like AI broke hiring, what now?
Okay.
Or something like AI broke the job search, what now?
Got it.
But it's basically just like a big talk on like how to find jobs in this new world of AI and position yourself with like the spoiler alert for everyone who's going to hang out here. The spoiler alert is that like it got harder in some senses, but it got way easier in another sense.
Okay.
Just because like the things that made you a good hire before AI make you an even better hire after AI. And AI makes it easier to do those things if you know what they are and you invest the time and like effort into it. So
I love it. I love it. Kevin, glad to see you here. Hey, how's it going? I actually know Kevin in real life.
Really? Where's he from?
I say like real life. It's like in person, I should say.
I always say like
is he from IRL.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sweet.
That's Alex, awesome. What's up? Good to see you here.
Yeah, Alex is we've chatted up on LinkedIn. Alex is a cool dude.
There you go.
Good to have you on here.
And
also,
Henri,
the Waffle House thing. I think this might be one of my like favorite things that like humanity does is we find like, hey, I know we have like standard numbers to like measure things by, and
usually
like
this is an America thing, but yeah,
right. Well, I mean, I guess Waffle House
Canada
is
thing too,
the America thing, but like maybe it's just I think it's just a human thing where like we just find weird ways to measure stuff. Like we just find like things that just like make an impact. Like the what is it? The McDonald's cheese like Happy Meal or whatever index, like how big is a Big Mac or something is like how you can kind of tell about like inflation and the economy. And like now Waffle House locations being open or closed is how we tell about like weather. We're just like forget actually looking at weather data. How many Waffle Houses were open?
see, I don't know if it's the exact same thing, but I remember, and I still do this from time to time. Like I measure money in terms of like what it would, how far that would get me food wise usually. Mm-hmm. So like, let's say Taco Bell, for example. I think of like, oh, I could go buy, I could buy this new subscription that's like, $70 a month, or that's like at least 4 days of me and my family at Taco Bell. That's the comparison.
Yes. No, I love that. Oh, goodness gracious. That's so good. I wonder how many people measure it in like terms of like tokens, these days. Like people are so like,
that's actually,
oh man, like I could do this AI like this would be like 2 hours worth of tokens.
2 hours worth of tokens. That's 2.5 million tokens right there. Like I saved up. Magal. I always used to get messages from recruiters before the IBM, but these days it's kind of rare. Interesting.
I would have thought that people would have gotten more recruiters,
like more maybe, AI recruiters.
I guess that kind of makes sense.
Maybe less recruiters.
Bit. Yeah, less recruiters. I think it's like the biggest thing about hiring is that it's like a trust thing. Like hiring is it's not about like how good somebody is. It's about like whether you can trust them, and like AI has inherently broken like the ability to trust on face value things.
I feel like I can't even we can dive into my week in a little bit and like actually get into topics, but
yes,
like I feel like it's funny because I was writing some things and I feel like I can't write the same thing because I write and then I'm like, that sounds really like AI written. So like I'll reword it and make it almost dumber.
I've almost decided to become like more, not disrespectful is not the right word, but like you get like, taught to like, hey, think about the way you write, make it proper, make it sound like you're put together. And it's almost like the exact, like you need to like human signal a little bit to where it's like, I'll throw in like random jokes. Like I'll just like or like I'll start sentences off that's like, oh boy, and I'll put like
Yeah.
multiple letters, like long oh boy or something like that. I've noticed
I'll
in my writing where it's just like, how can I make this as like people read this and read it in my voice as possible, versus like reading something that's like just
it,
good
it
writing.
exactly. It's hilarious because like I used to like the last 2 years was trying to get my was trying to stop writing like I talked, and I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to write more proper and like, okay, this is what I would say if I actually thought through all my words
Right.
100% of the time. But now it's almost like the inverse, and now I just try to write like I talk because
Snip,
then I can
snap,
have
snip,
like little
snap.
parentheses asides, and I can have like really short sentences and
Yeah. Yeah.
long run on sentences because it feels
Mm-hmm.
more human.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like the really only thing that I like pay attention a lot with my writing now is just like cutting cutting out scope, I guess. Like
Oh yeah,
I
shorten it.
try to make it feel human and like not worry about proper grammar, but I try to like still pay a whole lot of attention to like, okay, that was like I meandered somewhere, like cut that
Mm.
off and like
Punch.
focus on the task at hand to like get people through it. Like this isn't a podcast, this is an article. Like people still need to be able to like get through it pretty quick.
You're like
Um
you tell yourself think extra hard.
yeah. It's so true.
Cut
Oh
out all the
goodness.
fluff.
Also,
Uh,
Alex, I don't know if you saw his message, just trying to be half as cool as y'all one day. You want to know the
oh wow,
secret, Alex? The secret is that like nobody's cool. We are
no one is.
absolutely not cool. And as soon as you just like assume nobody's cool and like nobody's cool or special, then like everyone's just buddies and it's
Yeah,
super fun.
it's like a
Oh,
syndrome
Alex, we
quote
are not
from
cool.
Incredibles.
We're all just hanging out. All right, what'd you get up to last week?
Yeah. Um, last week, so not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, I had my
Mhm.
third kid, daughter. So now I have three girls. I have a 4 year
Girl
old, a
dad.
2.5 year old, and a newborn. Yeah, girl dad. We didn't know if it was gonna be a girl. So like before we were doing like the end of the year show, you're kind of like joking of like, oh hey, maybe it'll come. And it was actually like
Yes.
there was some like signs that it was gonna come. She was gonna come before the New Year.
Mhm.
And
Man, what a
then
good tax write-off.
she came. She literally, my wife went into labor the last hour and a half of her due date. So like her due date was January 10th. She started going into labor at like 11 p.m. on
Mhm.
Saturday, January 10th. And so it was like an all night thing. And she was born 7:10 a.m. on January 11th. So
Man.
1:11:26. Crazy time. But the cool thing is, I feel like I have watched the last week through a window in terms of like our little tech Twitter bubble and
Mhm.
like not just Twitter, but YouTube, LinkedIn, all that stuff. I feel like
Correct.
I've seen it in a bubble because I've tried hard not to like contribute too much because I've
Mm.
taken the last
Been a
couple weeks off
casual
of work.
observer. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of observing, and the last couple of weeks I did a lot of like thinking,
So you
and I've
mentioned
had a
you're doing
lot
a
of
lot of like writing or like contemplation. I'm
very
very
much so.
curious to hear
And
what the
still like a lot through AI.
outcome
Like
of
I,
that is.
yeah, it's still a lot through AI of like, okay, like here's my ideas and like, but like putting it into, Notion documents and like notes and being like, okay, what is the next step for me? Not just like at my
Mhm.
job, but personally and like everything like
Babies
that.
be crazy. What's up, Bear?
Babies be crazy. Babies
Babies,
are
in
pretty
fact,
crazy.
do be crazy.
Yeah, it was a crazy moment in time for sure. And thanks, Peak Flow. I appreciate that. But yeah, so I'm excited to dive in today because I got a lot to talk about, and it's mostly like, especially for everyone in the chat, if you are here, I would love your input because there's a lot of things I've been thinking about that I'm like, I have 90%, like I'm sold myself 90% of the way, but I also, it's one of those things you don't know until you know kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah.
Also, like, okay, I'll say a couple things just on based on what you've said, which is like one, I love the period of time after having a baby and like while you're having a baby. And I know that I can get away with saying that because I'm not the one actually having the child. So like
Birthing
as
the
the
child, yeah.
father, I love being in the hospital. I mean, even Allie would say like, especially like once you have a kid, but especially on like kid number 3, that like couple days in the hospital with just your newborn. I don't know if you stayed there. Like I had family come down, um, and help like watch our other 2. And so I
Yeah.
just stayed at the hospital with Allie and with the newborn the whole time. And it was just like it's like you're in this little bubble and like sometimes the baby's there and you have to do stuff, but like a lot of times the baby's asleep or they take the baby away and you're just like alone with your spouse where it's like a mini vacation and like you're trying to take care of them. And Allie was like, "Yeah, it's like you're in your own little world for a little bit with your new child." And that period of time and like the first 2 weeks after when you're not like working and stuff is I don't care if you have like kids before. There is something about having a kid in those first few weeks, at least as like the man being or the father being like, man, like let me contemplate everything right now. Like, let me think through what I've got planned for my family. Let me think through like how I'm like going to be taking care of my family. How like you just like rethink everything. You got like these 2 weeks, and I could tell that that's like the way you were talking about it is just like you're like, okay, like where am I headed right now, and like what can I do to like get the right trajectory to take care of my family is like the vibe that I got from like
Yeah.
and AI of course is like so high on the list just because of what we do and like how you make money and how I make, money for my family and stuff. But
Yeah. It is. It
a
is.
good time.
Yeah. And this was like different for us because like the first 2 were like a lot crazier bursts in the sense of like one was like an emergency C-section, like the second one was a breech baby, so like it was like a planned C-section because she wasn't positioned right, and so like this was like the first where everything went really
Normal.
smooth,
Yeah.
and like like quote unquote normal kind of thing, and so
Yep.
like we were both in the hospital shorter than we ever have been with
Oh yeah, I
births.
forget you got to stay there longer with C-sections and stuff.
Yeah. And so like it was kind of like it was kind of like a both and kind of thing. Like it was nice because we didn't have all the like now Kara, my wife, like has to like heal and like
Heal
do
from like like surgery basically.
yeah, surgery, but now it's like, oh, this is like a pretty nice recovery in the sense of like, oh, we can
We've
play
seen
with
we've
our
seen how it
girls.
can be. Yeah.
Yeah. So it has been like a great 2 weeks. Like it feels like it's been much longer in some ways, and it feels like it's been much shorter in some ways.
Time stretch. I think it has to do with like the getting off the internet, getting off of like regular routine, like just changing your routines and being so like focused in on like what is happening in your real world right now with like no distractions.
Yeah,
It always feels like way longer for sure.
it's
All
crazy.
right. What do you have
do it.
first up on the docket?
Okay. First up on the docket I have is the world of personal software.
Ooh, okay.
And by that I mean even before baby was born, but even like after, I have built more things that are never like no one else is probably going to use them. I probably am going to like share them more and like be willing to share them more. But like because of AI, I was playing around with I had finally finished my keytar at the end of or the beginning of this year. And I built it out and I was playing it and I was using this app on my phone that's called AUM. It was basically like an app that you load up all these instruments and then you can mix to say which one of these instruments is higher or lower, that kind of thing, what kind of effects they have.
Right.
But I also wanted to control my guitar pedal on that is wirelessly controlled via MIDI. But then like I was like hooking together like 3 or 4 different apps and I was like, I could just build my own version of this AUM. And it took me like 2 days of prompting, and all of a sudden, like I have this personal app that like if I wanted a feature, I could just build it, and if I wanted it to
Mhm.
look this particular way, because I want it to be when my particular phone screen, and it to be
Right, right.
landscape, I want it to be the most filled up, and then I built like a Mac app, like
Mhm.
as a companion, and it's all these things that like you don't realize until there's this you don't sometimes like I think we think of solutions as linear
Mhm.
where it's like, hey, I have this problem. Okay, I could build like a plugin or like I could even like find a plugin to add to this
Right.
like existing solution. And then or we think of, okay, maybe I'll just change my setup to match an existing solution. Or
Right.
as developers even we're probably like, hey, this solution that I have, it needs to be a web app because that's the only thing I know, right? And
Right.
I and it
Right.
has to be like online. So, like for example, if my phone wanted to talk to my computer, how would you do that? Oh, probably WebSockets, right?
Yep.
Well, Mac has this thing that I learned about that you can connect your phone to your Mac
Mhm.
via this. I don't even know what the protocol is, but it's kind of like WebSockets, but it's localized. So it's like
Right.
Bluetooth
Just between 2
WebSockets.
Mac devices.
Yeah. And you could just like like I honestly I did not touch any of the code, and
Oh,
I can like load up my phone app,
mhm.
open the app on my Mac, and it just connects, and then press a button, you can see it visually change on there. It's like a remote to your
Dang, that's so sweet.
Mac application. I'm like it just opened up the doors for what I
You're right. Like,
wanted.
as soon as you know that man, I love that whole thing where, like, that is, like, one thing that I've done my entire career, like,
Yeah,
that is, like, kind of what I've built my entire career around, which is just, like, explore things that you've never explored before in completely new domains
yeah,
because you will uncover something that then lets you do the next thing, which is, like, what you figured like, you wouldn't have, like, never built like, you explored a completely new domain on building, like, a app, and then you uncovered this new, like, technology that is not new, but it's new to you that you can now, like, talk from phone to Mac desktop, like,
yeah,
super easy, and suddenly, like, now, like, your world is, like, wide open on, like, possibilities of projects and things and ideas that you can come up with because you dove into it, and, like,
yep,
before, I think what's gonna be so interesting about AI to me is that, like, before, it was only people who were willing to, like, go through a lot of pain who got to do that, like, somebody who outside of my regular day job, I'm going to read docs. I'm going to like manually like figure out how this all works together over a period of time. I'm going to read, I'm going to Google, I'm going to like do all sorts of like manual amounts of like research and trying to like figure and uncover these new things. And like I'm willing to go through that pain because like
yeah,
one I like it and two like I know the benefit of it. And like what AI is like so great and what I'm interested the most, I think, to see about like AI is not what everyone's like, oh, AI is going to change the way like you write production software. Like, I don't think that, I think that's true in one sense, but I don't think it like changes that much. Like, I think
no,
software built for like enterprises and like bigger businesses with bigger teams, the problem has never been writing the code. The problem has been, like, coordinating between a bunch of engineers and a bunch of systems, like, that is always the problem, and, like, that's a completely different beast regardless of AI.
yeah,
But, like, what changes, like, the ability for people to, like, reduce the barriers to just explore and try new things and have more people make those, like, connections that you just
yep,
uncovered and found.
yep. Yeah. And it's like kind of like what your step I think the steps and this can get into a little later. I want to talk about like what I've come to the realization of what I
Mhm.
want to do about all of this. But like
Ooh, okay.
so when I built the keytar, for example, the reason why I want to do it from like a performance perspective was just because of my limitations of mostly I play guitar,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't have a guitar pedal next to me. Why? Because I need to move like my microphone stand. I need to move things and have like the stage cleared. So like
Right.
thinking through it from like a development logical standpoint. Okay, so that means I can't have a pedal. So that means I have to have one guitar preset all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then when I thought, okay, if I build a guitar, I can have everything right here and can switch and change different sounds without having to have anything at my feet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, then as I was building the guitar and building personal software for it, I was like, okay, here's a Swift native iOS app, a Swift native Mac app, and I can have my phone and a little like on the guitar or on my mic stand, and I can press a
Mm-hmm.
button on my phone and switch a guitar preset way
Mm-hmm.
without having my pedal there. But
Right.
then it got me thinking of like, okay, but then there's so much more you could do. So it's like this process of as a developer, I'm thinking through these, and just as like a problem solver, I'm thinking through, okay, just because I know what the next solution might be, doesn't necessarily mean I know what all the solutions that are possible might be. Because like then
Right.
I've even started, which I didn't even think of before. I've even started to find like ways of, okay, a mic stand might have a little pedal mount attached to it that I could have a wireless pedal to connect. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like all these pieces that it started
You
with
got
the
to start
problem of like,
exploring. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And it's like, whereas
um,
before you would have just written it off and been like, well, can't do it, move on.
yeah,
Now there's like, there's just enough of like a removal of friction in the process to like encourage you to explore more.
yep.
And I think that
And
is going to just open the door wide for a ton of people to kind of have moments like what you're talking about.
yep. And so the connection device, I pulled it up on in Claude because I was like, how does this actually work? Because I
Right.
remembered when I was exploring, I was like, hey, this is what I want, but I don't want to send MIDI because
Mm-hmm.
that seems like a lot of MIDI to send and then receive something if something changes. So I like talked through of like, here's the things that I know would be possible: MIDI,
Mm-hmm.
Bluetooth, which might be too slow. And so I was like just brainstorming. Here's the things I know, like physical context. Here's the things I know. And
Right.
then it came up back with, oh, you can have a custom TCP protocol over Bonjour, which I kind of know, but I
Mm.
don't really know.
Yeah, yeah. The name sound as soon as you say it, I'm like, oh, that sounds
Yeah, like,
familiar.
oh,
Yeah.
it's like a local network discovery. And
Mm-hmm.
so then it's these TCP clients that's streamed peer to peer. So even
Mm-hmm.
when the devices aren't on the same Wi-Fi, it can work over direct device connections.
That's awesome. Which is like
So
great
I'm like,
because that means it works as long
yeah,
as you have like a laptop and a phone.
yep, it's
Dude,
crazy.
that's so sick. That's
Yeah.
so cool. What is it like? Okay, I'm curious on like Swift development. Like, do you actually open Xcode and like develop in there, or has it all been like Cloud Code and like just reviewing any? Like, do you even look at the code? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I honestly have not. This is one of the first projects in a long time that I haven't like actually looked at the code. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen, of course, like streaming through Claude Code and doing it, and like, but this has been mostly what would be the traditional vibe coding of like it does it and it tells me, okay, open this up in Xcode because it
Right.
can't run it like the actual development
Right.
process. Like you
Right.
open it up and you build it to the hot
Right.
building is actually decently nice in the sense of like it can rebuild again and just refresh your app. Like it will close it and open it back up, even if your phone isn't connected to your laptop, which is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was mostly like I wanted to see is like are the things that because like as you know because I know that you might get to this in a little bit, but you've been building some synth stuff.
Yes.
Codeholic, congrats on becoming girl father. Thanks for your time. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. But the reason why I was like, hey, this is tough, and why I went with Swift was like audio needs one, you need to be fast. Two, it needs to be like as low latency as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
three, even if I have like a really powerful Mac and a phone, if I'm loading 20 plus different synths that are these plugins, I want them to be all loaded and available,
Yep.
and just meters, like the actual faders, be flipped on preset changes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, it technically has to host at least 20 different plugins and have them running and available at all times. And so it was this fun process of like figuring out, because the one thing that was weird about Swift is like it, at least from my limited understanding and of talking to Claude Code, is there's no tests. So I can't be like, hey, in the sense of like, yeah, like UI tests.
Right.
I can't be like, hey, let's make sure that all the words fit on this one frame, or that when you open this up, it doesn't like go past boundaries.
There's no playwright for
there's no playwright, and even like the tests themselves were a little weird, because I couldn't say
like unit style testing stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't say like, hey, let's check if this can fit 300 resource intensive plugins. I'm like, well, what's the limit? And so it was mostly just me physically testing, of like opening it up and being like, oh yeah, when I press these three buttons,
that flow like how do you like? I know that you like, if you want to publish to the App Store, you've got to buy like Apple developer stuff.
Yep.
What all do you have to do to be able to just like test, like do stuff on your own device? Like, do you have to have some form of like a test flight version published, or do they have some kind of tool to be able to just use it on your own?
It's a good question. I think you still do have to have an Apple developer account just to like open up Xcode. So I do have one. I had used it for like a React Native app earlier last year, so I don't know what the limitations were. But all of this has been public without me publishing anything. So like I can
Nothing's
run
on
it
the App Store. You can just move it.
Yeah. There's like a version on my phone that I can open up. And then same thing with Mac. There's like a version when I run it that's like a build version that just lives on my, lives in my applications directory.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's so pretty fun, because I've never done anything like that.
So I will get into this one later. Actually, maybe I should just go ahead and do this one now.
Just jump into it.
I'll do this one first, just because we're kind of talking about building stuff right now. So I've been building, as we know, music production software, but I've been building it in the web, using like Web Audio API. And I saw this article. I'm going to share this article. This is the next thing that I want to talk about, but I saw this article end of last year, I guess, like while we were on break. Like I was off for 2 weeks and I was reading through this, and it kind of goes into this this concept of like agent native architectures, which is just this, like, if think about like an MCP tool, how like the idea is that like you don't build things in a more traditional way to where you're like create this resource and it's like this, like for instance for a DAW project, it's not like create this DAW project and you give it a bunch of settings, and it's not like update this project and you give it like a big other like array, JSON array of like settings and everything. The idea is that this one's like the one that I like: granularity, composability, and emergent capability is like the idea here, which is just like break. It's not like you have like REST API endpoints where there's like a resource and there's create, read, update, delete. Instead, like what you want to do is create like a ton of little individual like tools to be able to do like anything on the system. So like for like a DAW project, that would look like a set tempo, set time, what is it called? When you 4/4 time signature, set time signature, create track, move track, pan track, like resize track, add MIDI note, create like all these like tiny granular like little tools, so that you empower agents to like be able to see the full range of tools and compose them based on some like thought process,
Okay.
like quote unquote thought process that the agents have, like where you can tell them some very open ended thing that's like, hey, create like a jazz song that has like a trumpet and blah, blah, whatever in the key of F or whatever.
Yeah.
And like it can go and know how to compose a bunch of these like little tools to be able to do something like that based on comparing like, okay, well, what is jazz music? Well, jazz music is this, and like it has like finer grained control and can like the emergent quality capability thing was super interesting to me because it was like, okay, if they have control over like all these little tools, it may know something about like audio signals that I might not know, and it can like make these like tiny adjustments to make some new sound that like I never would have thought of if I just gave it like synths and presets per se.
Yeah.
Like instead of saying like here's the synth, here's all the presets you can choose, and giving it more like finer grained control over changing oscillator types, number of oscillators, like envelope, like all those little details, like by giving it that control, then like it has the possibility to like create things that you weren't expecting yet.
Yeah.
And I liked this. I don't know, I just love this idea because it's like so much of our like UI and UX for how we build software has been built around this idea of like humans being able to understand the user experience.
Yeah.
And I think that is still the case. But there's also this like factoring in how people will continue to work, which is like any way that we can automate grunt work in any type of flow, they like people are going to want to do that. So basically like what I've moved on to building is like the cursor of DAWs.
Okay.
Is like
Nice.
the easiest way to explain it.
Yeah.
So like what I've started building, and I had a video on X. Yo, Josh is back. Welcome and congrats again. What's up, Hank?
Thank you, Hank. I appreciate it.
I
I'm
shared
I'm
this.
officially back on Monday. But
I get the early preview of Josh.
or the preview. But I have some great ideas.
This video that I shared was like,
Okay.
I'm not gonna like go through it, but it's on my Twitter. But it was just like a proof of concept where I was showing like this is me prompting, like I prompt in open code. You could use any agent, whatever, to make a DAW, like make a new using this like tool that's available to you, create a new instrument. And like I make one, and then I go over here. And it's like, oh, hey, like, here's all the parameters. Like, what do you want to name it? What kind of type do you want? Like, do you want to add a preset or not? Like, I've added these as part of like the MCP server and like the tool spec, that kind of thing. And it goes ahead and makes one, and you can see it live update in the UI. And so like, this is a Tari app, but it renders like a web view, so it's just like it's like a React app inside of like a Tari desktop app, and so I still have access to
Tari's Rust, right?
Yes, yep. So I still have access to like web audio APIs and stuff. So I still get to like follow. Here, and let me share this link. Did you share? I don't think I shared this link with peeps. So here's the link for anyone who wants to read about this like agent native architecture. It's super cool. And like it really just like spurred me on to being like, hey, like how much could I make, like how far could I take cursor for DAW? And that's like what I'm exploring and trying to figure out. And I've learned, I basically have like not been able to move forward any on like actually making a DAW because I've just been like grokking and like wrapping my head around like what does this like agent native architecture look like and feel like. And it's just been like, it's been one of those things where it's like, man, this is like one of the funnest times that I've ever had developing, and like making something new. Like it's been really fun trying to figure out the architecture. It's based off of like open codes architecture in one sense. It's got like a Tari app, and it's got a web app, and the web app can be rendered in Tari, but the web app could also be run in the browser. It's got a server, like Tari spins up a server locally, and that server like saves stuff to a SQLite database locally. Like it does all this stuff locally, and it's like super fast, but it's written in a way to where like if eventually down the road I want to have this deployed to like on the internet on cloud, to where like you could have an agent and you could have like a cloud DAW editor that agents can edit. Like it's possible to do that with this architecture. Kind of like how open code, you can put your open code server on a VPS and just have like your agents running like through like SSH, that kind of stuff. Like that model would be possible because of this architecture. So that's been like my like low key obsession for the past like 2 weeks, and it has been sick. So fun.
That's so cool. The funny thing is I'll answer some questions in chat first, and I'll go on that topic. Juice Rajandan, how is LLM and agents for PHP and Laravel? I think honestly, fantastic. Mostly, yeah, because Laravel is designed for like having all the answers that you need, specifically for like if you need to do anything within a project, usually like those packages already exist. So there'll be more on that from me specifically in the next couple of weeks too. And then Peakflow, I'm trying to find a good local model to use with open code. Will, you might have some thoughts. I think the free ones that they have of like in open code Zen of like Big Pickle, Grok Code Fast, and I think GPT-5
GLN 4.7.
I don't think that's free anymore.
Oh, is it not free?
But that one's like super cheap. So if you use like your own API key,
right,
down or just pay them with open code Zen.
Yep.
Not bad. I like that honestly. But if you're using like a $20 codex plan, like on GPT, like that's probably one of the best options, I personally think.
Yeah. I've noticed, like I've just ran into this, like with how much I've been trying to use agents and build all this. Like for the first time I've run into like cursor, I put in like a cursor block for like limits. Do not spend more than this much. And I ran into it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to use like my free amount from AMP code. And I did that. And then I ran into that limit. And I was like, all right, let me try like, then I like spun up like open code and been using open code a lot. And I signed up for open, like I think open code black is going to be my first, like
nice
get a full, like max type plan.
Okay.
That lets me have like a lot more usage that I hopefully won't run through. But like it's taking so long to get it that I'm about to just like bite the bullet on getting like one of the other plans and just using those, like just spinning up Claude Code and just going for it kind of thing. But
see, it's a write-off, but I spend a lot of money. Don't listen to this, Kara, if you're still listening. But like, cause like, so I even hit the limits of like the $200 a month Claude Code max plan with, especially the last couple of weeks, because I want to like be with my,
you're doing a lot
to take
less,
care of the baby.
Like, oh, thanks for like the direction. I'll do the next part a little bit by myself.
Yep. I don't do that as much. And I'm just on my phone with this app called Happy Coder.
That's what I was about to ask you. You've been doing ClaudeBot too, haven't you?
Yep. A little bit of ClaudeBot too. Mostly though Happy Coder, honestly, because it's basically like,
tell me
it
more
is
about
like
this.
an interface to use Claude Code or Codex on your MacBook. But like, so like I can have my MacBook plugged in right here. I'll turn the screen off, but it's still on. And then if I'm laying in bed, I can literally open new instances of Claude Code from my phone. And then I'll have like 24 instances going on like different projects, just doing like little things. And then I can be like,
does it have good code review?
It's basically just, it is just in terms of like visual.
SSH? Like, does it like show the, like, cause I know Claude and them, they try to put diffs out in the
Yep.
terminal.
All of it
How's
looks pretty clean. I mean, it's not
yeah.
like because it is like a very small screen, like you
Mhm.
can't see too much, but like it feels like you are using Claude Code on your phone.
Right.
But it is local instance because like you can use Claude Code on your phone if you have a Git repository attached.
Right.
But this is like I can create a
This is like
new
you can go
Laravel
to
app.
you can go
Yeah,
back to your laptop
and it's right
and
there.
pick up right from where,
Yep.
like, without having to even do a commit or anything. It could have
Yep.
like your dirty commit current going, like
Yeah.
ongoing, like file changes without having to like create a formal PR and everything.
Yeah. Or like it's abusing what it's supposed to be used for. But I could use I have used it to run bash commands, for example,
Oh, true.
just
Yeah,
like
yeah. Like
do
just like
things on my
regular
Mac.
stuff for like
Yeah.
any files available on your laptop.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, that's
So
so
like that has
wild.
been my process of like building it all. And so like I'll hit those limits very frequently, mostly because it's like I'll have it like in dangerously, skip permissions
Oh,
and just run a
absolutely. Yeah,
bunch of
yeah.
them overnight. But it's fun because it makes me like when I have that different kind of it's almost like a different kind of muscle that I'm using of like thinking through, okay, what, like it's almost like a blank slate, but for existing things, I can't just be like, oh, what should we build next? Because it's not going to tell me, but I need
Mhm.
to like have some advice on it.
Mhm.
But when you're talking about your, it's funny because the next thing I'm building with my personal software, so you're building like
Yep.
cursor
What is it?
for DAWs. I'm building this kind of similar, but specifically for performance. So
Okay.
for those watching and listening, you're probably not going to care about this, but in the audio world, there is this thing called main stage within Apple. It essentially just a I technically that's what I rebuilt. It is a performance app that hosts all of these what are called virtual instruments, VSTs or AUs
Mhm.
in iOS world. The iPad music and iOS music section of the internet is actually pretty. People use iPads a lot for
Mhm.
performance, for recording.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of like full featured instruments that are available in iPad and iOS, but also specifically for Mac. And Apple kind of has neglected that because usually people prefer, if I'm going to do performance, I might as well just use a full-fledged DAW like an Ableton Live or a Logic Studio. And so Mac has kind of abandoned this performance aspect of, I just want something lightweight to host other instruments and play them live. So my next step, specifically within like iOS, the app that I built that is essentially main stage for iOS,
Mhm.
is I want to do an AI version of it, similar to you, where I already have all these instruments,
Right.
but each instrument has its own presets,
Right.
and each instrument can be made to sound different, or I could have 3 instruments layered to make a different sound. I want to essentially give it a prompt or a track, like
Mhm.
let's say an example track, and I want to
Mhm.
say, with the available instruments, make me a sound that sounds like this.
Dude, that'll be sick. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like an agent for creating sounds that
Yes,
you
with
want.
like
And
the virtual instruments and stuff. And then
exactly.
once you have the like, so the virtual instruments, is it then like basically like your keytar is what triggers, or like whatever instrument that outputs MIDI is what triggers those virtual instruments? Is that how that
Yep.
works?
Yep. So
Sick.
everything like within my keytar build, for example, is technically just 4 different MIDI controllers.
Right.
Um, and it's all routed into my phone. And then I can pinpoint, I can say which instrument
Yep.
gets or which controller gets routed to which
Yep.
channel.
Yeah, I've been digging. I hadn't dug into like making VST style plugin
I have
type
not
stuff,
yet, but
but
that'd be interesting.
I have dug into what they are and how they work, just
Yeah.
because it's like if you're going to get into DAWs, you have to understand the VST architecture and stuff. So it's been like super
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if you built like your own synth engine
That's
that
what I'm
can
doing.
be
That's like my
hosted.
first step. My first step is like I basically have like 2 parallel paths. Like there's so much. Oh my goodness. Like I could work on this project for like years. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But like I have two short-term goals, which is just like I want to have like a synth, like an agent controllable synth, and
Yeah.
I want an agent controllable timeline.
Yeah.
Those are it. Like I want to be able to add tracks. I want to be able to add clips to tracks. I want to be able to add like MIDI tracks and be able to say like add this chord or like do this style of music inside of this MIDI track that is, however long or something. And it be able to like add all those tracks. And then like the parallel lane with that is like you have to be able to I could just have a bunch of presets available to apply to those tracks.
Yep.
And that would be like the easy thing to do. And then the next step after that is like creating configurable synths that can be applied to like MIDI tracks and like expose those. So like it's like I'm like biting off like one chunk at a time because there's just so much that could possibly be done. I think what's so interesting about this project is like, and the reason why I'm super interested in it is that like it is pushing the boundaries of like my understanding on how UI works. Because specifically with this type of project, it is a very complex interface. And like it still needs to be complex. But the updates that are happening from an agent are kind of like multiplayer software, like it's got to be able to like sync edits while you could potentially be making edits, and like thinking through the UX for that. And also like if you're in the app and you are working on this one project and on an agent chat, you say like, hey, create this new project that's this style, blah, 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 whatever. Like, how do you notify the current user of the client to say like, hey, this new project just got created. Do you want to go look at it? Or like, do you show pop-ups? Do you show like just make a new tab when that global event comes in with like a little red notification on it? Like, what are the UI patterns around like interacting in an interface that has like agents making changes in the interface as well? And it's just like super interesting like problems to like try and solve that. It's just like, I don't know, it's really fun.
100%. Henri, listening to this makes me wonder what Bob Moog would think of this new era. The funny thing is I have like all of the Moog iOS apps that are like the synths driven ones, and they're, I mean, expensive for an iOS app, but cheap relatively. It's like, $30 a piece. But it's crazy how all of like what would have cost hundreds of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but thousands of dollars for like a hardware piece, and now I have like it boiled down into software is actually insane.
So
I was all over that for a moment. I love it. Love it.
All right. Do you have another topic?
I do have one more.
All right.
I do have one more.
All right. And Family Friday.
Family Friday.
Let us not forget.
I'll make it quick.
However, I think we've got time for both of ours, so let's do it.
Okay, sweet. And just as a side note, for those who are interested in all the music stuff, I probably am going to, if not this weekend, sometime next week, show like, hey, these are all the personal apps that I built, like the music apps, because it's like main stage, but better, I think. I built something Apple has failed to build. Not really, but to me it is.
It's fantastic. Oh, I love it.
Okay. This is more of like a precursor, because so next week, as a kind of teaser for those listening and those still in the chat, we are going to have Tommy, and he's going to solve all my problems next week.
Fingers crossed. Tommy.
Fingers crossed.
Your job is to solve all of Josh's problems in media and business.
But I've been thinking about, so especially within my day job, within Laravel, I'm going to be specifically, and then I think the Laravel company as a whole is like, we're focusing on, okay, how does education within AI work? That is what has been on my brain, because that's who I am. I think that's
so awesome that coordinates kind of with what you want to do.
Yeah, it really is cool. And so it's like, where does that fit for me personally, so that I
Mm-hmm.
am not just like duplicating efforts for my own personal channels and gain, but then also how does that how do I still continue to better myself while continuing to, put out great content
Mm-hmm.
for Laravel and for that. And I think I have come to this conclusion that within AI, the thing that people are going to be yearning for, not just
What are
developers,
they
but people
yearning?
who are
What do they
yearning is a good
need?
word.
What do they desperately need?
Not just for developers, but I think people who are wanting to get into development
Mm-hmm.
and people who are what I would call, and what Cursor has even called, technical light people,
Ooh,
who are
I
like,
love that. Tech light.
yeah, tech light. I'm
Diet
seeing
tech.
everything with skills and yeah, Cursor and Claude, and I want to have that same feeling of being able to solve the problems that are in my head or ideas that are in my head. I think it's all going to come down to how people understand context so that they can share that context with the agents, with AI. And
Go
so,
tell me more about that.
yeah, my idea is I want to focus my attention on less about, hey, here is specific code and how
Mm-hmm.
to write that code, and
Correct.
here is specific technology and how to write that technology.
Right.
I want to name pending and like also like a target audience pending. I want to target people who wouldn't even classify themselves as developers, but even maybe developers as well, who feel like they are not in a place to be able to build the things that are in their head. And I want to move 5 levels up
Mm-hmm.
and teach uh
The process of making with AI.
the process of architectural making an app. And
Yeah.
basically like what
Yep. Yep.
words do
So,
you
like
need to
making a
know?
system, like how you put a system together to like
Yeah.
reliably build ideas.
Yeah. And thinking through the process of like
Yes.
I think I can I think not to toot my own horn, but I think I have done a good job in the past of like, hey, here is, this particular package. Here is
Mm-hmm.
how I would code with this in order to make this good, or here is how like I would start something from scratch within this. But it
Yep.
is always like very step by step by step.
Right.
I want to move into this process and what I am effectively calling, I want to be like, I think I'm going to, I'll get into the branding of it a little bit. But what I want to do is essentially teach people and move into this aspect of, okay, you have this, hey, I need to solve this problem. Well, let's break that down. First, is this a CLI tool? Is this a web app? Is this a native app? Is this just a script that you need to do? Or is this like a collection of prompts that you go? And then what is actually entailed in that solution? When you say, I want to make a recipe storing, I want to make a recipe site where when I add a new recipe, people can post pictures of what that recipe looks like. Let's say, that's a technically light person
Mm-hmm.
that understands technology.
Diet tech. Yep.
Diet tech, there
Zero.
you go. Most people in developers would probably say, okay, well, you need a database, and then you
Mhm.
need, a way like a many to many relationship. I want to cancel all that and
Yep.
basically say, okay, so what you need is a way for people to host this, a way for people to then have these images. So that means you need these things. And it's basically teaching the architectural standpoint
Right. Like
so that you
how
can
to
work with
think
AI better.
about software, not necessarily like how software is made, just how it's
Yes.
like built. Mm,
Yep.
that's
How
that does
you
make a lot of
would
sense. But
break
you know what
down
I'm
your
trying to say.
problems and your ideas to build the things that are in your head,
Yeah.
or to solve the problems that your employer is wanting you to solve. Because I think there's
Mhm.
going to be more people coding than ever before,
Yep.
even if they don't want to be developers.
Yep.
I should say there's going to be more people prompting AI than ever before. But
Correct.
how do you prompt it the right way?
Yeah, and it's like they're not necessarily. I bet a lot of people aren't even thinking about. I think it's like I think a good take on this as well is just like you don't even like one. There's that whole layer of like, okay, once you've figured out you want to build something, what is
Mm,
like the way to go about it when you don't understand tech? That's
Yep.
I think that's a really good layer. I think the other part
Yep.
of it is just like your top of funnel is like showing, not like that's your YouTube channel, and then like your
Yep.
social media layer is um like one layer above that, which is
Yep.
like how do you show people they need to talk to AI more? Like, what are the
Yep.
ways that you can I don't know if like going viral per se, but it's just like you're not showing deep dives on social media. You're not showing like architecture or how to build something. You're showing people like, did you know you could build this? Did you know
Yep.
like, oh, I had this problem. Here's what AI did in like 15 minutes to solve it. I think so
Yep.
many people don't know that you can just have a problem and get an answer or a
Oh
solution
yeah.
without having to pay like without having to like find a solution, like just by using AI. Now, obviously, like there's you have to pay for the AI on a certain level, but like if they're like diet tech people,
Yep.
they could probably get away with like lower cost
Yep.
stuff at first because they're not going to be like going crazy with it.
Exactly.
And
And
then
like
by the time that they want to be going crazy with it, they're all bought in and they're like, get me on that YouTube channel where I actually am like learning more about how to build crazy stuff.
yeah. And the social aspect is interesting because that I think that is going to benefit myself and Laravel for the stuff that I'm doing as a job there is like, hey, this cool thing I built. And then
Mm-hmm.
here's how to do that. Here's how to architecture that. Here's how to think through that. And then the second step is like, I am creating my own course platform, basically, that I am going to be putting all this out on. So instead of having all this as like, there's still going to be like YouTube channel videos. Almost said hi from the Josh Sear account. Hey, AJ. Instead of having all of like these YouTube videos, and there's still going to be YouTube videos, but I want this to be as premium as possible. And
Mm-hmm.
so like I'm going to dive into the world of paid course platform as well as paid like cohort style.
Have you seen Brian? Oh, why am I blanking on his name now? Brian Castle's
11.
stuff. Like
Yes.
he does like Agent
Yep.
OS and stuff. Yeah. I think that he is a very good person to like pay attention to and model after. But yeah, like cohort style, just because like how fast everything's changing, that makes so
Oh
much
yeah.
sense.
Yeah. You want that personal touch. And I think like I probably teach better, honestly, if I know people's problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's 100% you can do general type stuff,
Yeah.
but the general stuff can only take you so far, and then like and it's like the general stuff can get you to the point where you're like, okay, I'm willing to pay more to like solve my specific problems with his help, kind of thing. So yeah, I
Yep.
think that sounds like a great idea.
Yep.
And I'm excited to chat with Tommy and for you to run all that by him and see what his thoughts are around like the media angle and everything.
Yeah.
Sick.
But yeah, I'm gonna teach people how to be product managers. That's
Very true.
Even though I've never been a project manager, I have been an AI manager and director is what I like to call it.
A conductor. I like that.
Conductor.
I like
Conductor.
the whatever that. I've not used conductor at all, but it's a really good name.
It is a very good name. I have called it in the music world. It's MD, music director.
Mm-hmm.
It is the person who is like, hey, no, build this up here, build this, nope, cut back, and they're orchestrating it.
Yep.
And so I think we are AI MDs.
Perfect. I am pumped to see how this goes for you. We now both have stuff, and we're gonna track progress on it. You're gonna bug me about like how my progress on making this cursor for music production, and I'm going to bug you about all of your AI related like course / like video content and like what the progress is on that.
I love it.
All right, last thing. It's a little show and tell for everybody.
Ooh.
This popped off today. And this was like the coolest thing. This is like a pixel map of New York. And this guy built it without touching like any of the code. Um, and this is like really cool. He like built like even the art, like even the pixel art itself was all done using like image models, and everything, and it's legit just like New York. And he did a full breakdown of the project at this link. And I think that everyone should read this, because it is just like a really good like breakdown of like how to think about like what it's like working with AI, what the limitations are, like what its strengths are. And like one thing that I really, really liked that I'm going to steal slash like try to do more into my workflow is, and like something that I've talked about a lot is just this. At the bottom of like sections, he would talk about like the process that he went through, and then he would share like a markdown file.
Yeah.
That would be like the skill or the tool or the like whatever that like he would be giving to AI, where it's literally just like, this is exactly what I would write and give to AI so that they could do a repetitive task really well. And like he did that below like all these sections where it was like, here is what basically what like the way he talks about it is like exactly kind of it builds on top of like what you have identified as like a really good opportunity, which is like he talks about how he was still had to be a software engineer. Like he still had to architect, he still had to understand the problem, the domain, he had to understand like what the hard things to solve were. And then he just orchestrated the agents through a lot of like explanation of like, hey, here's where to get this thing, here's what you need to do to it, how you need to do it here, are, like through like quick iterative process to like to arrive at these like instructions for AI, so that he could like scale up for like harder to do things.
That's super cool.
And like one of his things that he talked about throughout this whole thing was like a lot of what he did to be able to avoid having to jump in and write code was like when there were problems and like things that would require manual work to get around, he would just create like micro tools to be able to do things faster. Like, hey, for one of the examples was like, I couldn't get agents to change all these things. They just were terrible at it. No matter what I did, I couldn't get them to do it. So it was something that I had to do manually. But what I could do is I could get AI to identify and highlight all the things that needed that thing to happen to them, so that like you would be able to cut down drastically on the amount of manual like work that is required when it comes to like when all is said and done. So he's like talking about how he built like a micro bounds app, water classifier, training data generator. And it's just like, this is just such a good post. And like, I'm going to be going through it, not because I want to do this thing, but just to like dig into like, okay, well, like, how is he? I want to do this. Like, I want to share that. Like, the more I think about like my type of work, it's like, I'm missing this part of it where I'm like writing things. And I think some of these are like chats. I think some of these are like plans. Some of these are like, it's just like, he's not just jumping into a Claude Code and YOLOing, you know?
Yeah.
And like, he's like coming at it. I do a lot of these steps still manually because I don't think I lean into agent tooling as much as I should. So anyway, I think it's really great. It really like builds on top of that thing that I shared a few times ago, and it just like the more I've built this like DAW editor, DAW thing, like, and been trying to build this like local app, the more I've run into it, that AI sandwich where it's like you have to like, you can use AI to explore and to go wide, and you talked about it as a snowball. Like, you can get as much inspiration as you can with AI into a domain, but when it comes time to like do something, like you've got to be the one to lay the foundation. Otherwise, like it goes off the rails so fast, and like you waste a ton of tokens and you waste a ton of time. So it's like you have to do a bunch of exploration, then you have to make some decisions on how things are going to be done, and then you can like use agents to then take that and scale it. And it, like if you don't do that like core piece where like you lay a foundation of like decision making on how something should be done, then like what you end up with is like a code base that is all over the place, no consistency, weird little bugs and weird edge cases that like new sessions aren't going to pick up on, because it's going to read this one section and be like, oh well, this is how it's done, and then over here this other agent has made it do this other thing this other way. Especially when you are like working across this, and like that's like one thing that Laravel makes really nice about all this is one thing that Laravel makes like so nice about this is that it's just like a lot of those decisions get taken away. And like it should, like I do things because I love exploring, but if I'm doing things to build like ship production quickly, then I'm going to use something like Laravel that will like, what can you do to remove as many decisions from you and the agents as possible? Because like that is the big sticky point at like at this phase of like development and being a software engineer is getting the right architecture, getting the right foundations, getting the right patterns,
context.
And so like Laravel does a lot to remove a bunch of those. There's still plenty to be made. There's absolutely still plenty that have to be made, and you can get off the rails even when you're using something as like feature complete as a Laravel style framework. But
yeah,
it makes it a lot easier to get it right from the jump.
All of the hard work still has to be done by an individual because you have to make those choices. I think like it was, I made like a little video a couple of weeks ago before my daughter was born, and I said, like, your opinions are going to even matter even more, because you're not going to be able to just rely on the AI choosing what it thinks it's best. You're going to have to say, like, for example, my MIDI app and like this whole project, like I knew MIDI was not the best connection from phone to back, but I didn't necessarily know the answer. I just knew I knew that was not the right choice. And like Laravel gives you the options of being able to have all of this built into one framework so that 99% of choices are already there for you. But yeah, completely agree. Like the context actually does matter. And then SMBNS, last question. To answer this one. My answer to this one is I think you have, like, I think our job now, and like why I feel confidently about like what I want to educate people on, is like actually knowing what's available. So like I feel like my job is like almost like curator and of the cool things that are available, so that I know that if I wanted to build a little app that like puts together a couple of video pieces, well, I'm going to use FFmpeg and I'm going to use, you know, React Motion, like whatever that, not React Motion, but the React Motion, and like just knowing that is what I think is available. So I think you have to be a curator of available tools. What about you, Will?
My answer is yes. It's like you have to be a curator. The way to get the domain knowledge, in my experience for like myself, like how I choose to get domain knowledge, is like twofold. One is you've got to build a bunch of little tools. Like you've got, if you're exploring a new domain, like for instance, I was exploring synths and I was exploring like waves and stuff, like build little playgrounds to where, like, I didn't do this to where you could share the sound, but like this plays music when I click these little buttons, and I can play around with like different types of sounds and different settings, and then like I would do that even more, where I would like try to build like a little editor. And the idea is that like you can build, which one did I build? Not demo 2,
demo 73.
Nope. Yeah, like legit, that's like yeah, here we go. where like I will just put in a bunch of like, hey, just give me every setting possible and let me play around with it. Like you just have to explore and explore the domain, and don't be afraid to build like little throwaway tools. I think like before you're like so nervous because you're like, I want to get this right, and there's so much to figure out, and you've got to like understand it before you can build it. Like no, like you can build before you understand. The key is that like you've got to be willing to build stuff that you will throw away to understand the topic. And then the other the other thing that I do a lot is like when I'm not at my computer, the answer is like yes, you just ask a ton of questions. This is all of my conversations that I have had related to like synths and DAWs and like music production software and like literally everything. I have like so many, and like some of these are just like really really long because I'm just like sitting there like waiting in my car, waiting in line somewhere, like doing something like that, and I'm just digging into like something where I like, hey, I built like a little miniature tool and like it felt weird doing this. Like, can you explain this more? Like what, how does that even work? Like what's the important parts? Like, you know, like you just jump in there, you build mini tools, you ask questions, and you try to get to the point where you have opinions on how it should be done. And like the way you know you've explored enough is that you get to a point where you can say like, I know I want to build this way. And like obviously you're going to learn more as you like actually start to build it that way for sure, but like until you have like at least enough exploration to be able to say like, this is the foundation, like you'll know when you're able to like say like, okay, I want to do it this way, based on everything I've like sketched up and done and practiced.
Yep.
But yeah, the world of throwaway, like it's now like a future of like small tools and throwaway projects. The building the thing is not the expensive part. Building it right is. So like, don't be afraid to build things quickly and throw them away and start over. Laravel knew, as they say.
And the amount of applications that I have spun up, even just like from my phone in the last couple of weeks, is absolutely wild.
Dude,
probably 30.
It's been so much fun. It is definitely, for people who love to make, it is a fun time.
It is a fun time
to be.
It's gonna get better.
Be a builder.
Sweet.
Cool.
Well, that's it.
What you got planned next week?
Next week, right? I'm back to work. And yeah, I think next week is like when the rubber meets the road. I got a lot of things that like I've been marinating on, not just what I shared, but like I want to have, you know, like pre-sales stuff ready to go next week. And while I'm talking to Tommy, and then I also like at least like ready to pull the trigger unless he's like, this is a stupid idea, don't do it. Like you're changing your audience, all this. On Pat Leave, my Pat Leave ends next week, Henri. So I took 2 weeks, and then I'll take another 2 weeks later on. But yeah, I've got some big plan stuff for Laravel too, like all diving in all into like basically what you said, Will. Like, here's this cool thing. Here's how you would build something like this, and here was my thought process.
Love it.
Let's go.
Love it. Dude, I can't wait. That's going to be so much fun.
It's basically like, I've been doing this for like the last 2.5 years with AI, with Laravel. So now it's just, no one wanted to see that before. Now they want to see it because they want to know what's possible.
Right.
Before they're like, well, show me how you did it. Now it's just like, show me what's possible.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Love it. Oh, so good. Next week, just a regular old week. Just going to keep churning away at work and churning away on the fun projects. I suppose that I've got like a video that will hopefully be dropping sometime soonish. That's a little sneaky project that I got included on. So super fun.
Okay.
And looking forward to our chat with Tommy next week. Tommy is a good dude. And I'm excited to have him on. I'm excited
for it. He's gonna fix all my problems. That should be the title next week.
That's the hope. Tommy, the guy who will fix all my problems.
Yeah, there you go. I love it.
LOL.
Thanks for hanging out, everyone.
Absolutely.
great,
Y'all have a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch y'all next week.
sounds good. See you folks.
Peace.